So I kid you not, in my office at my home, I've got this window next to my desk where there's somehow ended up a little hole, and somehow a wasp got inside my house and ended up flying to that hole and crawling out, going straight into a spider's web. And like for the next 15 minutes, there was this crazy duel between the spider and the wasp. Spider won, of course, but like it was just really cool to see how that happened and how it progressed and all that stuff. I'll be loading up a video for it. You should be able to click on it here, and you'll be able to see the action unfold for yourself. It's pretty cool. Nature is a kind of terrifying thing, actually. So, we've seen a lot of people lately whose hackles get totally raised at the thought of compromising. Most people in the church these days apparently think that compromising on anything means you're accomplishing all that's wrong and hateful in this life. But is compromise really that bad? There are some things, obviously, that we should never compromise on, ever. Such as the divinity of Christ, the virgin birth, God's sovereignty, etc. However, there are some things that it's totally okay to compromise on. If you've read Galatians and studied it, you'll know what I'm about to talk about. Our relationship with Christ revolves around two things: loving God and loving others. Pretty simple, right? Yeah, I wish we could all remember this. It's amazing how simple it is, really. Some things are eternally significant, requiring us to hold to them at all times, often to the exclusion of earthly things, and sometimes at the loss of life. And some things just aren't that significant. Paul talks a lot in his epistles about how we treat others and whether or not to abstain from certain things. It's pretty clear when you take everything together that the major things are obvious, and the minor things are often those gray areas that everyone gets so worked up about. Like politics. I know plenty of Christians who avoid politics like it's the plague and will cast judgment in heaps upon those who dare to get involved. Most will state, well, Jesus wasn't involved in politics, so why should we be? Which totally works for everything. Like, Jesus didn't have a pillow, so why should we? The Bible makes it pretty clear that we should be involved in the world around us. Not for our own benefit, but to make the gospel known and expand the kingdom. And what better arena than politics? I mean, really, political corruption is a favorite topic among many, but few make any effort to change it. How crazy would it be if Christians took a truly biblical worldview into politics and changed it for the better? Politics is one of those areas where compromise often has to take place, simply because if not, nothing will progress. But if you have a biblical worldview, then you will know better on where and when to compromise, and when you just simply shouldn't. Knowing this in any circumstance doesn't come naturally, though. It only comes through the working of the Spirit, reliance on Christ, and a careful study of the Word of God. The whole thing, not just bits and pieces. So don't be afraid to compromise on minor issues, especially when a fellow believer's conscience is at stake. Because our focus should be on loving God and loving our neighbor, not on whether or not we hold to some vague, extra-biblical philosophical principles. Soli Deo Gloria. This is Ian, signing off. Ching. I'm loading up a video pretty soon. Hopefully there'll be a connection to it right here. I'll be loading up a video for it. Should be wait for it. Wait for it. So don't be afraid to compromise on minor issues, especially when a fellow's